Everyone, Tom with Capo Fetish. Today we're going to talk about some great proto-punk albums from the 1960s. For me personally, this is kind of roots music. This was kind of the first music I ever heard growing up, even as a toddler. We heard a lot of garage rock growing up in the mid to late 60s. A lot of singles by the Standells and the Blues Magoos, etc. These are songs that, or singles, should I say, that I would inherit and play myself growing up at a very young age, 5, 6, and 7, while my brother and sisters would eventually move on to like singer-songwriter territory and play those kind of albums. I was still kind of stuck with these 45s, and I was constantly playing them on my Silvertone, my little Sears Silvertone record player. So I'm going to feature 10 proto-punk albums here, albums that basically I grew up with. So maybe not the official album, but definitely singles from these albums. I'm going to start off here with a really, really great band. I feel they're very underrated. They're an LA band, and as far as very influential on punk, I mean, this is 1966, and this particular single that came out in 1966 was so ahead of its time and so raw. And the vocalist was a guy named Sean Bonnewell, and I think he had one of the most creative, unique voices for that time. Very, very just growly, gruff sounding. I mean, when you hear the song Talk Talk by the Music Machine, that is definitely an early punk song, definitely a proto-punk song. I was going to feature this album here, their very first album, The Music Machine, Turn On, but I think this compilation here from Rhino from 1984 has a better song selection, considering that they only put out about 1 or 2 albums. Most of that material is featured on here. So you've got the single Talk Talk, which is, I think, hit the top 15 nationally on the charts. But there's also some other great tracks, other great singles that were released around the same time. On the flip side of Talk Talk, you've got a great song called Come On In, which sounds very much like what the Doors would do on their first album. I don't even know if the Doors were influenced by the Music Machine, but there's that touch of Jim Morrison in Sean Bonnewell's voice, and just the darkness of the material and the keyboard, the organ playing. Sounds very Doors-ish, and this is pre-Doors. We also have really a lot of great tracks like Masculine Intuition. There was a great single called Double Yellow Line that was released after Talk Talk that is just fantastic. Another one called, what is it called? Absolutely Positively, The People in Me. This is a great, great band. I don't think they ever really got their due. I think they kind of stood out from a lot of the garage rock bands from that mid-60s period. And then also you got a guy named Keith Olsen on bass, who would later become a huge producer in the 70s. And he would produce the first Fleetwood Mac album with Buckingham Nicks, and just countless other huge 70s acts like Santana, you name it. Keith Olsen produced those acts. He passed away about maybe 4 years ago, but anyway, great album here. If you come across a compilation of the Music Machine, pick it up. They're a really great act. Another great one from 1968. Very, almost like pre-grunge, definitely proto-punk, garage. The first album by Blue Cheer, Vinspis Eruptum, with their huge single Summertime Blues. Just really, really just a 3-piece band, almost doing what Nirvana was doing, 20, 25 years later. A lot of great tracks on here. Rock Me Baby, Dr. Please, Second Time Around. Great listen if you want just that really raw garage sound. They also put out another 1 or 2 albums after this, but I think this is their best one. Vinspis Eruptum from Blue Cheer from 1968. And of course, one of the bands that's responsible for the punk, let's face it, for the punk scene, very influential. Those early Kinks albums, the second Kinks album released in the United States, more of a compilation, Kinks size, kind of collects a few tracks off their very first album and stuff off Kinda Kinks. This is a great compilation though, of early Kinks tracks. You got Tired of Waiting for You. You've got a really raw version of Louie Louie. I've Got That Feeling. There's an instrumental called Revenge, which I think the Pretenders took a lot of influence from on their first album called just the Pretenders, but the song was called The Phone Call. When I first heard The Phone Call, it always reminded me of Revenge, the track by the Kinks. You got side 1 ending with I Gotta Move, great little groover number. Things are getting better. I Gotta Go Now. Of course, you got All Day and All the Night. If it came between All Day and All the Night and You Really Got Me, I think All Day and All the Night packs way more punch. I don't know if it's the drumming, the drums, the snare sound. I think Dave's guitar just sounds tougher. And just the chorus, everything about it is just way more energetic, in my opinion, than You Really Got Me. You also have a great track sung by Dave Davies, Come On Now, which I believe was a flip side of one of their hits. I can't remember which one, but a great proto-punk here album from the Kinks. Early Kinks are definitely garage proto-punk. Of course, they would change their sound with Face to Face onward and go into more pop elements. But great album here, Kink Size. Of course, we can't avoid this album. Very, very influential on the punk scene. Absolutely just incredible record here. White Light, White Heat by the Velvet Underground. Probably one of the most, I remember hearing this album for the first time, being really scared at times, listening to some of these tracks, like Lady Godiva's Operation. God, it is such a creepy track. Of course, White Light, White Heat, a song covered by many people, including David Bowie. The Gift with the spoken stuff by John Cale. One speaker is playing, just free-form kind of rock and roll. The other speaker is this whole story about Waldo. And then you've got Here She Comes Now, probably the only mellow song on the album, ending side one. And then side two is just full on, just balls to the wall. Feedback, just, Take No Prisoners. You've got I Heard Her Call My Name with some great feedback by Lou Reed. And then, of course, the iconic Sister Ray, which goes on for about 17 minutes. Great proto-punk album here from the Velvet Underground, released in early 68, but I think it was recorded mainly in late 67. Another great one, it may not be a solid record, but there's some great tracks on here. I'm talking about the Blues Magoos, their album Psychedelic Lollipop. Of course, the hit on here is We Ain't Got Nothing Yet, which is a great garage track. And the flip side of that single was another great track called Gotta Get Away. They also do a great version of Tobacco Road on here. Other tracks like I'll Go Crazy, One by One, Worried Life Blues, She's Coming Home. On the Mercury label from 1966, the Blues Magoos, Psychedelic Lollipop. And that first Who album is very, very proto-punk. The Who Sings My Generation, of course, the title track, just really, really raw. One of their great early tracks. This album is just full of gems. The Kids Are All Right. Please, Please, Please. They do a version from James Brown. You've got Legal Matter, great song sung by Pete Townsend. You got The Good's Gone, I Don't Mind, Much Too Much. We have It's Not True, great like backup vocals from. They had such great backup vocals in this period. The Who, almost kind of reminiscent of the Beach Boys at times. And then Instant Party ends the album. This is a great debut from an incredible band, The Who. I love their 1960s stuff the best, pre-Tommy. Of course, I love their 70s stuff, but I don't think their 60s stuff these days gets, it doesn't get enough praise. And I think that was when they were at their hungriest and at their most, just more raw and gritty. So The Who's first album, My Generation. They're the great garage rock band from the mid-60s. The Standells had a lot of great singles. This is their album Dirty Water. I remember growing up, we had the single Sometimes Good Guys Don't Wear White. Great track. The flip side, Why Did You Hurt Me? That is such a cool tune. Also on here, you've got 19th Nervous Breakdown, kind of a so-so cover of the Stones. Of course, another version of Hey Joe. Now, I don't think there was any band back in the mid-60s that didn't do a cover of Hey Joe. I still like the Leaves version the best, though. Cool song called Rary. Pretty decent 1966 garage rock classic here. Definitely influential on the punk scene. Great proto-punk album here. And then, of course, we've got the MC5, Kick Out the Jams, recorded live in 68. Very influential. The title track. We got Ramblin' Rose. The second side is really what I dig the most, though. Borderline, Motor City is Burning, I Want You Right Now, and Starship. Those are just really kick-ass songs. And, I have a few other MC5 albums, like Back in the USA, and none of those albums even compare to the energy of this particular album here. This album just, I I don't know what it is, the live feel or whatever, but it seems like when they got in the studio, they just, for some reason, I don't know what it is, the power just wasn't present on those later studio albums like this one here. And this is one of the great live albums. Kick out the jams from the MC5. Another great band led by eccentric Sky Saxon, the first Seeds album featuring the hit Pushin' Too Hard. Great track. Can't Seem to Make You Mine, another good mid-tempo rocker. Fallen in Love, Excuse, Try to Understand. It's not all fantastic, but there is a vibe about this stuff that's just really infectious and great and raw. Seeds' first album. And then, of course, we got to feature this one. To me, this is the best of all I've featured. The debut from the Stooges. Self-titled album came out the same week as Woodstock. Completely out of step with that particular era. Completely written off by critics. And decades later, they're about as influential as, you know, the Velvet Underground, any of the greats. So I'm one of those people that love every track on this album. 1969, I Want to Be Your Dog. We Will Fall used to scare the shit out of me when I used to hear that when I was young, but I love it now, especially on headphones. I love side 2, No Fun. Real cool time. Anne is a cool little kind of Doorsy sounding kind of track. And then you got Not Right and Little Doll. I love the swing on Little Doll. It's such a great track. And if it came between Ron Ashton and James Williamson, I think Ron Ashton is my pick for the best Stooges guitarist. I think he had the most style. I love his wah-wah playing. And then, of course, Iggy. This lineup here of the Stooges, to me, is the best lineup. So those are 10 really cool proto-punk records. I know I'm missing quite a few, and I know you're going to list some in the comments section. These are just 10 that mean a lot to me personally. Please put your selections in the comment section, and then please press subscribe. And we'll see you real soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.